Audible's best of 2024 picks are here. Discover the year's top audiobooks, podcasts, and originals in all your favorite genres. From memoirs and sci-fi to mysteries and thrillers, Audible's curated list in every category is the best way to hear 2024's best in audio entertainment. Like a stunning new full-cast production of George Orwell's 1984. Heartfelt memoirs like Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's Lovely One. The year's best fiction, like The Women by Kristen Hanna, and Percival Everett's brilliantly subversive James. Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. Go to audible.com/imagine and discover all the year's best waiting for you.
Credit Karma makes building your credit straightforward and stress-free with help from our credit builder. Sign up today at creditkarma.com and start enhancing your financial health. Credit Karma, your partner in building a brighter financial future. Credit Builder plan is serviced by Credit Karma Credit Builder and requires a line of credit and savings account provided by Cross River Bank, member FDIC.
Hello, welcome. Let's chat. It's hard. You want to talk? I know, that's disappointing. Sit back. Let's work this out. How's it going? What are we doing here? Where are you going? Hey there. Wow. It's not always easy. It's amazing if you think about it. Let's think about this. Strange. I have some thoughts about that. Life is hard. Trauma bonded.
And now a dramatic interpretation of a pivotal scene from the 1999 international blockbuster film, Brokedown Palace. To set the scene, recent high school graduates and American characters Alice and Darlene have just been arrested at a Thai airport attempting to smuggle some smack into Hong Kong, although both claim neither of them knew an illegal drug was in their shared little backpack. Claire Danes' character Alice will be played by T, and Kate Beckinsale's character Darlene will be played by Elly. The time code is in the show notes if you wish to follow along. You okay?
No, Darlene. I'm definitely not okay.
Come on. We can't fall apart now. Someone's gonna come for us.
What makes you think anyone even knows we're here?
The embassy knows. The detective called them for us.
Oh yeah, sure he did. Then he called the president. They're trying to drive me nuts. You sign! Your girlfriend confessed to crime.
They told you I confessed?
They told me you signed their bullshit confession like we're stupid. Like we're gonna sign something we can't read? You didn't sign anything, did you, Darlene?
Well, it was my statement. Saying we're innocent.
Was it in English or Thai? Was it in English or Thai?
Look, if they changed what I said, then I'll tell them.
Shit.
Clearly I can't read Thai. I'll just tell them it's not what I said. Oh, well, God, I'm sorry, Alice. I'm just not that used to being tossed into some filthy, disgusting jail. And scene. And yes, I did ask Holly if she'd ever seen the movie. She had not.
I mean, it's practically the movie.
Welcome to Trauma Bonded. I'm Elly Westberg here with Therese Garcia.
Hello.
And today we're discussing episode 344 of the podcast. This is actually happening. What if you spent 7 years in a Thai prison? A brief summary. Holly's mother's boyfriend introduces the family to heroin when she's only a teenager. The drug doesn't seem to inhibit her, but the crimes around getting it from Thailand to Australia do. In one fateful attempt to mail the drug internationally, as she'd done successfully before, she gets arrested and spends 7.5 years in a Thai prison, subjected to horrible living conditions. It's there she gets clean and knows that once she's free, she will use her lived experience to help others. And full disclosure, I'm the showrunner for This Is Actually Happening, and T knows nothing about the episode. She comes in fresh.
Hello.
The show Trauma/Bonded is for the listeners, a space where we can talk about each episode, digest it, and reflect on it with empathy and also a bit of levity. That's Trauma Bonded. T, what stuck out to you is the heart of Holly's story.
You know, I got to thinking about this episode, and I thought one word could really encompass the heart.
Mm.
I went with heroin,
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
spelled both with and without an E. Heroin, of course, the drug, as she does struggle with the addiction, but also heroin as she is, the protagonist. She's the main character of the story. She's also the hero, kinda, She goes through the story as kind of the victim, really, throughout, and ends up and becoming the hero, the protector, the person that comes out ahead, being able to tell her story and really helping to guide and protect others, motivating them. She really did change her life and ended up changing others in the long run. But I thought heroin was a great word.
Mm-hmm. My heart. This was a tough one for me. At first, I thought it was something along the lines of money makes the world go round.
Oh, okay.
But that's that's true, but it's kind of bullshit. And Holly says the opposite at some point. So I trashed that idea. That's not the heart. That's not Holly's heart anyway. I think the heart of her story is about support. It's these family and friends that won't give up on you and that can help save your life. It starts with you, and she talks about resolve. As someone that wants to help someone else or be a help to someone else, you can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves. But once they turn that point or that corner and they have this resolve that they're going to be clean, all you want to do is fight for someone like that. These women who go in as addicts and then come back out to no one and nothing stable, no home, no money, no support. What are they to do? She says it herself. These are good people. So what happens to them? What do we do with them? Holly is incredibly lucky that she had people fighting in her corner and that could help her go back to normal when she walked out of prison. It's not in the story, but she spent a total of 17 years in prisons in Australia and Thailand for drug crimes.
Yeah, and then Stephen was just right there when she walked out. Like no time had passed at all. It's pretty amazing.
So it's pretty remarkable that she has the life now that she does. This doesn't happen for most people.
Mm-hmm.
And it is her, I think it is her resolve, but it is coupled with the support of friends and family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So her dad has boundaries and was strict, and he gave her mom a bashing every once in a while, and the mom was alienated from her family and was very open and giving. Is this a good combination to raise children, you think?
They do say opposites attract, but I guess it doesn't really work out.
I don't know. I'm convinced from doing this show, we analyze parents or people growing up all the time, and it's just such a wide range. I think there's sometimes it's kind of obvious, okay, yeah, that's gonna fuck someone up. And other times you're like, how did they get fucked up? I don't know. It's just such a shot in the dark, isn't it? Because you can do everything right at home and some terrible thing happens outside the home. So then you're fucked either way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, a dad giving a mom a bashing is not a good thing. Boundaries is a good thing, and being open is a good thing, but neither of those should be absolutes, right? Obviously, the dad drinking a lot and bashing the mom is not a good thing. And then at the end, when Holly mentions that her father, he died of a heart attack and never came to see her in prison because it would be too hard for him. It just feels a little bit selfish. Can you imagine not going to see your child in prison because it'd be too hard for you, even though it would mean so much to them? I don't know. We don't judge the dead here on Trauma Bonded.
I was gonna say, no one's safe around here, dead or alive.
It definitely sounded like Holly was parentified as a young woman, having to take care of his siblings, and she was forced, she detached from friends, really as a way to protect the secrets in her household.
But she thought that was just normal.
How would you know it's not?
Yeah, just became a normal thing. It's very sad.
So her parents do separate, and then her mom becomes a very wealthy woman, and it sounds like from running these 3 escort agencies from her home. And this was well known in the home. All the kids knew what an escort was. She puts it, they knew what these women did for money. What do you think of this whole setup she's got going?
Well, I was like, oh no. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's more, this is just the headquarters where
Like a dispatch.
the
an
dispatch.
escort dispatch.
Like maybe they don't do it here. You're just, they do it in their homes, and you're just, the appointments
You're like a broker.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. You're going over there. We're making the appointments here. This is virtual.
So is that better that the kids know and are exposed to the idea as long as it's not happening in the house that they live in? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I was feeling like maybe that's better,
Well, it's probably
better
better.
than it's happening in the next room, and then you're opening it and you're like, hey, oh, sorry, oh God,
Yeah.
my bad. I was just, gonna grab something. There's
Obviously,
levels,
yeah. Sex work is work and it should be protected as such. This is the oldest job in the history of humanity.
Of course.
I feel like the women always get shamed for being escorts, but we rarely hear about shame for the men that keep them in business. These kids knew everything that they knew what was happening, even though it wasn't happening in the house with them. They knew what the transaction was. Is it damaging to kids to know about that? I don't know. Probably on some level. I don't know. Then there's this other part of me that was like, is this a job that can still be done? I feel like I'd be a really good madam. I'm a good matchmaker.
There's potential there.
It'd be a good musical. We call it escort dispatch. I just got a call for a blonde with a large ass.
There's something there.
Mom meets Simon when Holly's 14, and this is when heroin is introduced to the family. Holly puts it quite clearly that none of this is shocking. It's all very normal.
It's normal. This is normal as well.
And this just got me thinking, because she was a wealthy woman and no crime had to be committed for them to get it outside of getting the heroin itself, people don't give a fuck. That's what I realize more and more the older I get. People don't give a fuck what you do in your house as long as they ain't getting called about it. You ain't doing it you're not hurting someone else. You're not causing a scene or stealing, or as long as no one else is in your drug crime
No one's affected.
except for you. They just don't want to
Yeah.
be bothered.
You're not getting sick.
Yeah.
No one's getting hurt except for you. Internally even, because
Yeah.
you're functioning. So she says there's no bad side. Only good stuff right now.
Well, it's like this is like one rule for the wealthy and one for everyone else. But then there's also this point of some people can handle their drugs or their booze and some people can't. Some people will lose their whole life to it, whereas some people can, quote unquote, be addicted or do it in moderation and still be functioning.
Yeah, this is a side I've never seen to heroin.
Yeah.
You've seen, like, quote unquote, like the other functioning alcoholic, like, or maybe somebody that'll like have a few at night, maybe even every night or whatever, and then they'll go to work every day and be successful and continue on. And then you'll see the alcoholic that's like won't go to work and they'll lose their job and everything will be bad, right? The heroin addict is just bad, bad, bad all the time. This one is like, I mean, it gets bad eventually, but we're seeing maybe it could be like glamorous and you're just doing heroin and it's okay and you've got a job and there's no crimes and you're not getting sick and you're just going on about it.
Well, at some point, your body is just addicted to it. So you have to have some baseline of it in order not to get sick. This is why it's so dangerous to mess with these things, because you don't know what it's going to do to you. You don't know how it's going to change you. And you don't know. That's why it's so fucking sick that Holly's mom allowed her to try it.
Yeah.
Her brothers get into it and they can't handle it and they go to crimes associated with getting it. Holly visits them in prisons, and Holly starts answering the phone for the escort business. And there's heroin happening in the house and escorts, and she can't talk about it. She believes in what happens in the home stays in the home. This secrecy can be really, really damaging. She does meet Steven, who ends up being this lifelong partner, which is amazing. But, at some point she asked her mom to try it and her mom kept saying no. And then finally she said yes. And it's just like, you've seen her brothers, what it's done to them. You know that you need it, how highly addictive it is in your own life. For a second, can we try to imagine what her thinking was? What was it, T?
I mean, at that point, it's like, is it okay? I mean, at that point, there's no line. You're just like doing it. Obviously, you think it's fine because you're doing it all the time and nothing's happening bad. You think it's okay. You think it's normal. Nothing bad's happening.
Except you have 2 adult sons who are in prison because of this drug.
They've done it wrong. You're doing it right. I mean, the logic, it's hard at this point,
Yes. What was the mother? I'm trying to think like the mother.
You're thinking it's you, I think. What's the problem? I'm doing it right. It's cheap. I've got money. It feels good. I still have my job.
And my 14-year-old daughter, who hasn't fully developed her brain or body yet, should definitely try it.
Yeah, you're being sarcastic.
No, I just said should definitely try it because she wants to, and I'd rather she do it in front of me than find
Yeah.
some bum stuff on the
Oh,
street.
yeah, because this is pure stuff. This is good
This is
stuff.
good stuff.
Yeah.
She sees that I'm doing it, so it's not like I'm hiding it from her. I might as well let her try it so she
I
can
don't want her to try too much of it. This is a good amount of it.
I'm just gonna let her try it so she can get it out of her system, even though it's immediately addictive. Everyone says so. But people didn't know that then, and they were snorting it. I'm not even sure it's heroin that we know heroin as heroin. I thought you couldn't snort heroin, but apparently you can.
Yeah, I think you can.
So Holly gets into using every day and stealing from her mom to do it, and she says it's a mask for pain that she's kept hidden or repressed for years, and it was that she was sexually molested when she was a child, as was her sister, and she doesn't really say much more about that.
Yeah.
So she's obviously facing a lot, and it makes sense that she would have a crutch as hardy as heroin. And it sounds like it makes up her whole life. She talks about it quite casually, like when she does go to prison, it's people there that she knows because they all run in the same circle. And Perth has a small drug circle. Even though she's, 19 or 20, her and Steven understand the drug trade between Thailand and Australia. Like she's so in it so deep that they built up a community of connections and friends that live in this world.
Friends.
And she agrees to help us. Yeah, agrees to help a couple of friends do a drug deal. And just out of a kindness of her heart, she says she'll sell it for them. They get back from Thailand. It's a setup. She's arrested at 20 years old, and now she's sat in lockup. God, can you imagine? Like, this has just been your world for the last 5 or 6 years. Like, just we do heroin and we pay taxes and everything's fine. And now you're in fucking prison. It seems unjust, doesn't it? I mean, I don't want to like litigate drug crimes, but I will beckon back to a Chris Rock bit that he did from an old HBO special where he says, locking people up for getting high. And to me, that's what drug crimes are. I think it's absurd, this puritanical idea that we have worldwide about a crime associated with a drug. Holly was sentenced to 18 years in prison at the prime of her life for having 10 ounces of heroin. Does that not seem excessive?
Oh, it seems very excessive. And she's doing this, I mean, like she said, she was doing this, as a mask to suppress the abuse that she had when she was younger. It's like, oh, now you're going to get 18 years of prison time.
Yeah, we're just going to punish you.
You got punished. Now you're going to get punished again, and then you're going to get punished again, punished again, punished again.
It's almost like there's this prison industrial complex that we're trying to feed. I mean, I can only speak for America. I assume Australia has something similar. To me, it makes more sense. What we know now, this is today, what we know about addiction, it makes more sense, especially a first-time offender, that you would send them to a 90-day rehab before you would toss them away and throw into a jail cell for 18 years. I mean, this person has a promising life ahead. Give them a chance to get clean from this drug that's taken them over. They're going to be more beneficial to society. And you could probably send them to a really good 90-day rehab cost comparatively
Yeah.
to what it would cost to imprison her for the next 18 years. I mean, give them a chance.
I don't think they want to give them a chance.
They want to keep you right where they have you.
In there.
These people would lock up the whole world if they could. And you know who I'm talking about.
Hey, Prime members! Have you heard? You can listen to your favorite podcasts ad-free? Good news! With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free-podcast. That's amazon.com/ad-free-podcast to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Think scaling AI is hard? Think again. With Watson X, you can deploy AI across any environment. Above the clouds, helping pilots navigate flights, and on lots of clouds, helping employees automate tasks. On-prem, so designers can access proprietary data, and on the edge, so remote bank tellers can assist customers. Watson X works anywhere, so you can scale AI everywhere. Learn more at ibm.com/WatsonX. IBM. Let's create.
Her sister ends up there as well. And It's so devastating. Their mom dies while they're both. I can't think of anything more devastatingly poignant than two sisters from the same household are in a prison for the same drug crimes at the same time that their own mother dies of an overdose from the same drug that they've gone into prison for. I mean, the fuck?
And then they go to her funeral handcuffed.
Just absolutely horrible. And then they have to face knowing that when they do get out, that she's gone forever. At least they had each other.
Yeah, I guess.
Eventually, Holly gets out. She moves to Thailand. Pure, cheap heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Heroin's an addict's dream. She says that she posts heroin home, but you realize that means mail, right?
I did.
Okay, good.
I watched Bluey.
Oh, yes. She mails heroin home. This guy that she knows can line a calendar with heroin and send it. And it reminds me of this really good episode from Locked Up Abroad. I was obsessed with Locked Up Abroad. For our British listeners, it's Banged Up Abroad. There's this episode, I looked it up, 2009, it came out. It was a Brit who was backpacking and living in Goa, India, and she gets addicted to hash, and she wants to send hash back to the UK. And so she starts buying hash in big quantities and like lining these Indian like touristy kind of statues with it, and then just boxing it and mailing it to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
The first few mailings go successful, but the last one is what busts her, and she ends up spending 5 years in an Indian prison. Excellent episode.
Oh,
Not my favorite though, but one of my favorites. Do you want to know my favorite?
sure do.
I mean, I have a couple favorites, but my most favorite, my most devastating one is a couple of Brits want to get out of England for a holiday, and it's a guy and a girl, and the girl, they're just friends. They're platonic friends. And the girl gets asked by the sleazy nightclub guy to smuggle cocaine or something back from Peru. So he'll send them to Peru. She can take a friend. They'll have a nice holiday. They'll have money for spending. They'll stay in the nicest hotels, etc. And then she just has to bring back like 2 suitcases full of cocaine. And she asks her friend if he wants to go. And he's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. No idea that this is why they're going.
Oh my God.
Right? She keeps it from him, and she keeps wanting to tell him. Through the episode, she's talking about how she knows she needs to tell him, but she's afraid to tell him. She never does. And these suitcases come, or the suitcases like get delivered to her, and they're just like lined with cocaine. Again, he has no idea. They go to the airport, they get busted. She goes to women's prison. Guess what? Women's prison is a lot easier in Peru than a men's prison. This poor guy, this pasty, soft, bald, glasses wearing, geeky type guy, innocent man from the UK, has to stay. He goes to a Peruvian prison, I think for years. I think it's like a really long time. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's so excruciatingly just terrible. Like he trusted his friend that this was just an up and up holiday together. His punishment is just so much worse than hers. Like, it's so much worse. She's like, they'll get cut to her, like, I was in, like, my prison with, with women and children, like, making flower crowns, and he's like, I was with, like, the worst, scummiest dudes on the planet that would, like, shiv someone in the hallway and, like, steal your socks, Like, it just cut back and forth, like, she just had this almost, like, idyllic experience.
Oh my God.
You had no idea. Devastating.
Wow.
Never trust someone who offers you a free trip anywhere.
Okay.
So anyways, yeah, so Steven's been arrested back in Melbourne, and Holly's going to pack it in Thailand to go back, but she wants to do one more calendar mail off from Thailand so that she has her smack when she gets back in Australia, and this is when she gets busted and she gets thrown in a Thai prison. The first thing she says that would absolutely destroy me is that the lights are on in the cell 24 hours a day.
That would kill you.
I doubt they're going to let me bring my hypoallergenic eye mask with me.
Wow.
And Bob says to her, get ready, because this is like nothing you've ever experienced before. And my God, Has Bob ever been more right about anything Bob has ever said? Oh, mama. She talks about going and this prisoner is doing internal body searches of these women. What is she doing, T? What happens in this internal search?
Everything sounds terribly dirty,
Yeah. Do you think it's fingers up the hoo-ha?
I guess.
Is it fingers up the butthole?
I think
Yeah.
it's all of that.
Even that cross-contamination isn't a good
Oh,
idea.
yeah. And
But
then
let alone
then
everyone's hoo-ha and buttholes on your fingers.
gloves are the same and
Uh-uh. And it's a prisoner doing it to you.
yeah, that too. Why?
I feel like she could have spent the whole
Ugh.
hour talking about this.
Yeah, all of this, I was just like, it was very uncomfortable just to listen to it. So I'm feeling
Yeah.
like,
I feel like I got a yeast infection just
yeah,
thinking
just
about it.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's given a small bowl. That's not for rice.
So, no, they do this in the Philippines too.
They give you a bowl to shower with?
Yeah, that's how you shower.
Like in regular life
Yeah.
too, not just prison?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So I thought that was regular. I was like, that's fine.
So the whole time you were in the Philippines, that's how you showered?
Yeah.
Did you have hot water?
It was fine not to have hot water. It's so hot.
Oh.
It's so hot
Did it
there.
have bugs and shit in it?
No, it didn't. It wasn't like that.
Oh. Did it come from a faucet or?
A faucet.
Okay.
But I'm just saying there was a bowl.
So same tools, completely different experience.
Yeah, sorry.
There's one room for 120 women. I don't know how big this room is. It couldn't have been that big. In order to fit her, everyone had to turn on their side to sleep. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be in a prison, but to never have any privacy, to never have your own space.
You would die.
Oh my God, I'd never make it.
You'd never, ever make it.
The farting. What if you have to pee in the middle of the night? You just have to step over everyone? I guess you can see because the lights are on. People coughing. This is why tuberculosis is so rampant. You can't roll over or stretch out or switch sides. I mean, you knock over everyone. It makes me want to take like extra special care of my bed. Like treat it like the privilege and the honor
Oh,
it
yeah.
is.
Yeah. And Brokedown Palace,
Yeah.
like the scene that we watched, I was like, wow, they have a lot of room in there.
Yeah. Well, that was just, yeah. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that doesn't seem right at all.
Yeah.
That was a huge room, the two of them.
Yeah. And then she's got to fight 2,000 women for this 10-second shower
I know.
situation. And it's not nits, it's gnats. The water was full of gnats.
Oh, I was like, what is that?
And she knows she better adapt or die. Could you do it? You could do it.
I don't think I could do that. I mean, I would have to. You have to do it. If you're there, you have to do it or you die. I mean, what would you do?
There are options.
No, everyone, well, yeah, that's why everyone's,
I'd be one of those girls chained up to the staircase all day.
oh yeah, you would.
Except, no, I wouldn't because I'm white and I'm American. And we're going to get to that.
I mean, when girls like have their periods and stuff,
Dude.
you know how in the prison systems now, like they're fighting to get like tampons and pads and stuff?
Yeah.
For sure, they're not giving them those here.
Dude, I didn't even think about period stuff. Good fucking God. Just sit with that for a second. So she being an Australian has a much better deal than the local Thai women because she can get a loan from the Australian embassy, which equates about $400 every 3 months. And this money makes her life easier in prison. I mean, she can make friends and use this money. And luckily she's likable and able to make friends. Like, you can't just do it on money alone. Like, do you think Elon could get by in prison? No, because he's deeply unlikable. So this toilet in the room, and it ain't like a great toilet, I'm sure.
No.
It's probably equivalent to a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
You're sharing it with 120 other women. I can't imagine the smell in there.
Maybe eventually you'd get used to it because it's just the smell.
I don't want to.
I mean, after 7 years, after like a month.
I mean, I would have been the same way. I would have been shitting literally anywhere else besides a room full of women. But she says she has to leave her dignity at the front gate if she's going to get by. And guess what, T? Sleeping the lights, the toilet. You thought these were the big issues? No.
No, that's not
No. These aren't even the biggest
no,
ones. Because guess
no.
what else?
Centipedes. They're centipedes too. Oh, and
And
all the water and the rats and the cockroaches.
the snakes.
Oh, the snakes too. Oh, yeah, but don't forget to put the toilet paper in your ears, though. You have to make sure to do that.
She gets bit by a centipede. Now she's got vomit and diarrhea. Where's she vomiting and diarrheaing at, T? Where? I assume that same hole in the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Think about a porta potty. Now think about getting on your knees and vomiting in front of one. Think about that.
There's a lot going on
Yeah.
already.
And just rodents and
Oh, yeah.
things are just crawling by you. And then
There's a lot of liquid,
ugh,
I feel like.
yeah,
Unidentified.
bad,
It's not even identifiable because it's just a mix.
bad liquids. And then it'd
It's a
flood
mix.
during the rainy season. And then it'd be up around their shins. And just like a rat swimming by you in the water.
Do they clean? They must pour chemicals. It's like a porta potty. Do they just pour chemicals in it?
Who wouldn't want to be numb for all of this?
I know.
Give me a full tranquilizer of all the drugs right into my veins. Send me into a coma for 7 years. I could not do it. I could not do it. And she's getting into fights because it's frickin' pressure cooker in there. There's abuse from guard to prisoner. And it becomes normal to her. She's conditioned to accept it. It's terrible, brutal conditions, but not for foreigners. They're protected because they have someone that's gonna take up for them. But these poor Thai people, they're shown no mercy.
Again with the normal, by the way.
It's her normal.
This word normal keeps coming out. I'm like, none of this has been normal.
What people are able to deal with on a day-to-day basis blows my mind. We are so spoiled.
We need to just calm down.
We're so spoiled.
I know.
We should be on our knees thinking whatever every day
all the time.
for all the things that we have. I mean, they're so callous. These guards, they'd even abuse the women who've paid bail and are walking out the door, and they make them do one last humiliation because they can. They have
I know.
until you walk out that gate, there is this fear that they're gonna pull them back for whatever reason. It's just humanity can be fucking cruel, man. So Holly has a light bulb moment where she sits down on the dirty ground. She looks around and goes, fuck, this is my life. This is what heroin has given me. Nothing, absolutely nothing. It's taken everything. I'm done. And not only am I done, but my judgment is over. I mean, it sounds like she just quit cold turkey and just never went back. That is resolve.
Mm-hmm. Good for her. And she doesn't even know when she's going to get out of there.
Again.
She's like, F it.
Well, I mean, the fact that she turned it around that quick, I feel like, because she did it under a year, she knew that she had to turn it around. But like, I don't know, if my mentality was, you are going to have 30 years here, I probably would lean into the drugs harder.
Yeah, I think I'd like lean into the drugs until I'm out and be like, okay.
Yeah. These devastating things that stay with Holly are helping a woman who's hung herself. She saves her life. But she says suicide is common. And her close friend Ong, who gets transferred to the 6 cell, which sounds like, to me, it sounds like that movie, The Beach. When someone was sick or injured, they just put them outside a camp. Like no one was like helping them or attending to them. They just wanted them away from the main areas because they made them feel bad. Like it sounds like, because she says no guards go in there. I'm like, are doctors and
Like,
nurses going
let
in
them
there?
die?
Or are they just there to die? Like no pain meds, no meds at all. I can't imagine. I mean, Ong is begging Holly to kill
I
her.
don't know. God.
Holly previously got vaccines before she went in. Vaccines are good. Vaccines are good. The way she describes how the men throw Ong's body.
I mean, they drop her.
Yeah.
Like she's just
Just,
trash.
yeah. Yeah. Not even potatoes. Not worth anything, not having any value. Just rubbish to expel. How devastating. Her father dies of a heart attack, and he never come to see her. And it took 3.5 years to get her sentence. I could not stand it.
Do they not have bail? I mean, how does that work?
I don't think so. She's so freaking patient. I mean, I guess she just has to be. She just has to
They
be.
can't do anything, I guess. You don't get, like, a lawyer. I mean, how does the
I don't know.
legal system work over there?
Well, she's got someone working for her. I mean, it takes a long time for stuff to go through court systems here as well, but that seems like a long time to get a sentence. Hooray, she gets 31 years. Yay!
Yay! They're like, "Wait, no, that's bad. No, that's bad. Is she bad at math? What happened?"
She knows if she gets a numbered sentence in 4 years, she can go back to Australia.
But you're still in prison.
You're still in prison, but she's clinging to her little hopes.
Yeah.
But Australia doesn't want her back because she's likely to reoffend, and this is when her friends and family really start fighting to get her home. And this is the section where she talks about women in mental health crisis, and they're just treated like animals, just chained all day.
Chained, yeah.
I can't imagine. No humanity. And she finally gets her transfer, and she's sad to leave her friends behind, which just demonstrates like how adept Holly was at making friends. She seems like a really cool person. She's really like
Yeah.
no nonsense.
And she doesn't wanna, like, brag that she's leaving, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't wanna, like, celebrate too much.
Yeah. Oh, the things that pile up, the things she hasn't done in 7 years. She gets to get on a plane. She gets to use the phone. She gets to watch TV. She gets to shower with hot water.
Yeah.
These things that we take for granted. If after listening to this episode, you don't just like hug your bed and your shower and your TV, I don't know what's wrong with you.
I hug my TV every day. If it weren't for you.
Her first calls Steven. He comes visit her, and this is when she finally cries. She's been in survival mode these last 7.5 years, and finally she's allowed to express these deep feelings, these emotions that she's kept bottled up inside. I can't even imagine what kind of therapeutic, amazing cry that was.
I love that she's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm crying." I'm like, "Of course you're crying."
You should be
What are you
crying.
doing?
Steven says you should be
She's like,
crying.
"I'm crazy. This is crazy. I'm crying." I'm like, "Yes." She's
Yes.
like, "I'm crying." I'm crying. I'd be crying all the time. I'd be crying forever now.
Yeah.
All I'd be doing from now on would be crying. It's not crazy. Let it out, you know?
I mean, she was hard when she went in. She knew she had to have a steely
Oh,
demeanor.
yeah.
I would have walked in the first day like blubbering like that guy on Shawshank Redemption that gets beaten his first night. Like just crying myself going, I shouldn't be here. She wants to help others when she gets out, and she uses the education available, and she knows she's going to use her lived experience to help. She's released December 2012, and as luck would have it, Steven is released 1 week later, and they just walk back into society and relationship like they never stopped, and which is kind of amazing. And I
Yeah.
think the essential element here is that both of them are clean. If one had not gotten clean, this never would have worked. That could have been a whole different story. But luckily, they both get clean. But it does feel like it's like knowing the histories of both that there would be a tenuous balance to maintain. Because if one slips up, it's just a matter of time that the other one will go with them. So I'm sure that they continue to just be a great support to each other. And then she has another little mental breakdown because she's never faced or dealt with anything. She's a scabbed up person who has healed, but that doesn't mean that she's not holding that trauma of things deep into her childhood still. Guess what? She's got depression and PTSD.
Who knew?
Who would have thunk it? She finds a counselor. She talks about everything in her dysfunctional family. And sadly, on a really sad note, she says in the end that she lost her brother Craig 4 years ago to a heroin overdose, and she loses her sister Amy 3 years ago in an overdose. She lost so much to heroin. I've never heard of a person that's lost so much because of one drug. And we realized that that was the last thing that you heard when you listened to This Is Actually Happening episode. And then you came over here and we gave you a scene from Brokedown Palace.
Oh, yeah. Should we not do that?
People have come to expect it. We're sorry. And you're welcome.
That's good.
The other side of the coin of sadness and tragedy is laughter. And it was a very good dramatic reading. And I hope that all of you go see that movie if you haven't already. Great episode. This is the fall season finale. And now this is actually happening. It's going to go on a 3-week hiatus, and there will be rebroadcast episodes. I think for Trauma Bonded, we'll take next week off for Christmas.
Okay.
I don't know what we're going to do for the other 2 weeks. We'll talk about it. We'll be on the lookout.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of Trauma Bonded. You can find our show where podcasts are kept. Please rate and review us. And a special shout out to Rachel, a friend of the show who listens to us despite disagreeing with some of our hardcore stances on some stuff. Rachel, thank you for hearing our hearts. And next week, as I said, we'll be off. But please listen to the rebroadcast over on This Is Actually Happening, and stay tuned for what we do the other 2 weeks. Maybe we'll talk about the rebroadcast episodes if we haven't already. I don't know. I'm still working on trying to get a storyteller follow-up. I don't know what's gonna happen. I just moved, y'all.
She just moved. Jeez.
It's Christmas. My sister's coming. There's a lot going on. Thanks to Holly for sharing their story and giving us the opportunity to talk about it. And thanks to the This Is Actually Happening team, including Whit, Missildine, Andrew Waits, and the maker of our music and website, Nathaniel Trimboli. And thanks to Cathy Sites for editing this episode, and Katie Capel for building those Instagram posts. Please find us on YouTube, Instagram, Gmail, www. We are trauma bonded to the story, to the storyteller, to the listeners, and to each other. Thanks for spending time with us today. Love you, T.
Love you, Elly.